I'm excited to share an interview that I did with an escrow officer who's been in the industry for over 2 decades. She's going to tell you exactly what she looks for in a notary signing agent, the biggest mistake notary signing agents make in her experience over 2 decades, and how you can become a better notary loan signing agent. Watch the entire interview. It will make you a better loan signing agent. Enjoy. It's Mark here at the Loan Signing System. Really excited about today's interview. Like always, guys, I do my very best to bring in escrow officers, mortgage officers, real estate agents, title reps to you so you can actually learn from people who are in the business, not from someone who is teaching a course, but an actual escrow officer. I cannot be more excited because she's the one I credit for actually getting me in the business. So I always tell you guys, I've been in the business for 15 years. Which means I've been working with Kathy for 15 years. So this is super exciting. She is the most experienced escrow officer I've ever worked with.
Wow.
So the information you're gonna get literally cannot come from somebody I know that has more experience than her. So this is absolutely amazing. So Kathy, thank you very, very much for your time today. This is a phenomenal meeting, so I'm very, very excited. So really quickly, if you could tell my students, just so they know how long you've been in the escrow business.
I've actually been in escrow business for 21 years, believe it or not, and I have worked with Mark, like you said, for 15 plus years, and help you the best I can with what I find important with a notary.
Amazing. And the only thing I heard there actually is there were 6 years I wasn't her notary, so I'm sorry. That's all I heard.
Seriously.
So anyways, we're going to get started. She's a busy lady. So thank you again, Kathy. So let's just start from the top. Just answer however you feel.
Okay.
So let me ask you a simple question. How many files do you close a month, more or less? On average?
Oh my gosh. Well, it depends on, if we're talking about the end of last year, I closed probably 250 a month, and that was
okay. That's phenomenal. So then the point I'm trying to make for why I asked that question is so they realize how much business there is out there, right? So 250 files in theory is 250 different signing agents on each one of those files.
Absolutely.
So that was the point of me asking you that question. So I mean, 250 months, insane. So it's like probably a couple thousand closings you did last form.
Absolutely.
There's so many signing agents who go, Mark, you know, there's an escrow officer can only employ one notary. You know, I go, there is more business out there than you guys realize. It's just kind of understanding. And I want to hear it from you versus me because I preach this all day. But cool. So thank you. And that was the reason I asked you that question. So if what is a glaring mistake that you feel signing agents make? And I ask this so the students don't make that mistake. So I ask every escrow officer, what do you think is one mistake that like everyone makes and I want to help them not make it?
I think the most common mistake, especially with refinances, is the right to cancel. Especially if they're not signing on the date that the docs were printed, they're not changing those dates, having the borrower's initial and things like that. And then they don't even know how to calculate
Yes.
and put the correct date for the 3-day right of rescission. So that's the most thing I see.
And what I really got from that is, you know, you're talking about someone who does 50, 75, or last year she did a couple thousand signings, and her biggest issue is a notice right to cancel. And that's the most basic job.
Well, that's the most important document in there
That's
because
right.
that's when you start counting the days.
That's
So
right.
if that's wrong and it goes to the lender wrong because you have so much volume you just can't put your hands on every file, then that rescission period starts all over. That can cause a rate extension or a law, like major problems.
So use the cheat sheet that I provided you guys. You know what Kathy's telling you is, as a veteran of the business, that there are so many signing agents that mess up that's the most glaring mistake. So if you don't make that mistake, what I think Kathy's trying to say is you'll be one of the better signing agents out there.
Absolutely.
And just by simply not messing up on the notice or right to cancel. Such a simple thing, right? Which kind of leads me to my next question, Kathy. If a signing agent introduced themselves to you and they said that their only job is to not miss initials, not miss dates, not miss signatures, what would you say?
You can't throw paper at somebody and say, sign here.
Right.
That's not...
You will the amount of that, and the reason I asked you that question is because I get so many signing agents say, Mark, our job's not to explain. And I say, if you want a business, an escrow officer wants someone to be able to at least point out where the information is found. So if someone says, what's my interest rate? You should be able to be like, that's your interest rate. We're not here to sell the loan.
No.
But if somebody says, do I have a prepayment penalty? You should be able to know where it says in paper.
Able to find that.
That's
yes.
exactly right. And so, you know, I'm making this video because so many signing agents say that's not our job.
At least need to know where to find the answers to their questions enough to make them say, oh yes, you're right, that's what I've been told, that's my interest rate, that's how many years I'm getting the loan for, or what have you. Not only is it important to an escrow officer, but you also get your business from a bulk of mortgage brokers,
Exactly
loan
right.
officers. I mean,
Exactly
you want to
right.
make those clients
Exactly
just as
right.
pleased as an escrow officer, because they can blackball you just as quickly as anybody else.
That's a great piece of content, Kathy. I mean, because I always try to tell people that, the signing agents are an extension of you, but you even took it one step farther, saying the signing agent is an extension of like almost the whole transaction.
Absolutely.
You, mortgage officer. So once again, guys, and that's the importance of a good signing agent. So where, some other people may tell you it's not our job to point out information, but if you want to work with an escrow officer as busy as Kathy, as someone who's been in the business as long as Kathy, the fact of the matter is you have to be educated. You're right. It's our job to be impartial, but we can point out information in the paperwork, and that's what you want.
You're an extension of me.
Exactly right.
I mean, absolutely. You are representing myself, my company,
Right.
and everybody when you go and meet in front of that borrower.
Now, thank you for saying that, because that's what I'm just trying to get home with here. Can you give my students an example, just one example of I'm assuming you've blackballed a notary before? Like, okay, I just want to make sure. And so, because I don't want them to make the same mistake. So I try to get one example from every escrow officer. So what would be an example of why you blackballed a notary?
Your attitude, the way you speak to them, your mannerism, everything like that is so important. I mean, you have to treat everybody as if you would want to be treated yourself. I mean, it's the golden rule, right? So those are all different reasons why I would not use a notary again. And then somebody that just clearly doesn't know what they're doing and doesn't care to better their notary skills.
Perfect. So what I gathered from that answer was, making sure that you are presentable,
right.
Making sure that you come off as educated,
right.
And you come off as professionally dressed, because a lot of signing agents come in, goodness knows,
Absolutely.
T-shirts or like some outfit, like what are you doing? So three-piece suits aren't necessary, but just looking something like this, or if you're a lady, a nice blouse, or what?
Business casual is the way I would explain it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
There you go.
Perfect. Let's talk about forms. So like PCORs, trust certifications, VA relationship forms, subscription of proceeds, et cetera, et cetera. Would you say it is the signing agent's job to make sure that the trust certification is filled out at the appointment?
Well, absolutely. You're gonna notarize a blank document, so that doesn't make sense to me. So you need to at least have the borrower fill in as much information and or leave a note on it for your escrow officer that they absolutely didn't have the answers to it. But as much information in the forms can be, the easier it is for everybody.
Exactly. Now, thanks for entering with easier to be everybody, because what I try to teach them is if SI comes back blank,
right,
you got to fill it out. Well, maybe not you, but someone has to go get the SI filled out, which means it's more time for you to do it. Because there's a lot of signing agents say, Mark, our job's not to fill out forms.
I've even given it back to the notary and say, this form came back black. It was your responsibility to have this completed. Can you go back out to the buyer and have it completed?
Amazing piece of content. So that's exactly right. And that's what I try to tell them is it doesn't get magically filled out if it comes back blank.
Because I don't know the answers, so sometimes.
Perfect. And so what I try to tell them, and I just want you to kind of clarify, is if a notary comes back with all the forms empty, that's probably not a notary you're going to use again.
No.
Right. And if a notary comes back, all the forms are filled out, trust certification, SI, your eyes open, you go, okay, I've found someone that I could use again.
Well, not only that, it tells me, were they in a hurry? Were they rushing our client through that? Or were they why would you be afraid to ask common information from your borrower that needs to be completed for a reason? I mean, we don't just give forms in there unless we absolutely need them back for something.
Thank you for that. Because literally there's signing agents who believe that it's not their job. And those signing agents who I believe are slower, they're not busy, and I tell my students the reason I am a successful signing agent is because I really do my best and I take it serious. I'm an extension of you,
right, from
the standpoint of making sure the forms are filled out, making sure I'm educated, and I'm just trying to share that knowledge with the students and have them come from someone like you saying it. Almost on the end of this part of the interview, what would you just say the top 3 qualities are that you look for in a signing agent?
Is knowledgeable in what they're doing, how they're presenting themselves, presenting the loan documents, explaining it to the buyers, because they're nervous. I mean, what if it's a first-time home buyer and all of it have a lot of questions? There's a lot of money that they're spending to buy a home. And then most importantly is to get the docs back in a timely fashion so we can get them back to the lender. And the ability to be able to package loan documents, that's such a great help to me. Because when I'm buried, it's hard for me to lose an assistant for so much time to package the loan docs to get them back to the lender.
Great piece of content. What I felt the best piece of content in there is I don't think any of the other officers has mentioned it, and that's getting docs back in a timely fashion.
Right. Exactly, yes.
And you would stand out from the signing agents who roll in at 10, 11, 12, 1, which we've seen docs come back like at 2 o'clock the next day. And you're like, what are you doing?
Well, that's a problem because a lot of times I know with I've more purchases now that the refis have fallen off. And some of those purchases, they want to sign and fund the same day. So it's very important to get those docs back as soon as possible. And if they table fund, if you get them back after their cutoff time, then you have some unhappy agents and buyer and sellers. So
amazing piece of content, Kathy, and that's what they need to hear. And so hopefully it didn't go over some of your guys' heads as far as funding and table funding, but bottom line is the escrow officer can't do their job of closing the file if they don't have the docs.
Right.
So the sooner you get them docs, literally the better you look, and that's how you can separate yourself from other signing agents who might stroll in a little bit later. So thank you. And the last thing I want to touch base on that is the packaging. Some notaries are like, what is loan packaging? I don't even know what it means. So if you just briefly go over why it's important, I think you kind of briefly touched on it, but almost more specifically, I guess I can say it for you, so maybe you can agree, that if the notary's not doing it, you're doing it.
Right, that's correct.
Or
one of my assistants is doing it, which takes time away from our processing, our fundings, our recordings, and all of that. So the more, and we're also paying notaries top dollar to do their job. That's a 30-minute to an hour process. So I feel like that's almost if you can extend yourself and be knowledgeable packaging loan documents, I'm going to use you all day long, as opposed to somebody that just drops them off and they don't want to learn or don't want to offer that service. I'm going to use the notary that does as opposed to the notary that doesn't.
Thank you very much for saying that. And you literally eloquently said it perfectly. I mean, it takes away from your processing time. It basically takes away from your escrow job.
Right.
And if someone can do it for you, they're getting the business. Guys, packaging, and maybe you can agree with this or not, is probably the single biggest thing you can do to get that escrow officer to use you again and again and again.
And it's not that hard.
Yeah, because obviously the loan signing system teaches you how to package loan documents.
Oh, see?
Yes.
That's perfect.
So, but thank you for mentioning that. That was great. So we can kind of wrap up with the last segment, and most of these signing agents believe that escrow officers prefer to work with signing services on their local business.
Untrue.
Untrue. Thank you. And can you tell why, maybe?
And the reason why is I don't know who they're going to assign it to. I have no control of it. I don't have my number one guy here going out. No, then that way I know my clients are taken care of. I know they're going to get the docs back in time. And then it takes control out of my hands when I use a signing service, and then I don't know who the notary is.
Right. It's because a lot of the signing agents have this myth that I can't go an escrow officer because they only use signing services. And I'm trying to tell them, no. Escrow officers, actually, that's a last resort. Right? But you would prefer to work with them local because of what you said, the relationships.
Absolutely.
And I'm trying to debunk some myths here. You've been in the business for 20 plus years. How many local signing agents have walked in this escrow office and tried to get, not a signing service, but a local notary, and said, give me a chance on that one deal? How many times has that happened to you in 20 years?
Well, not that often, actually, which it blows my mind.
You heard it directly from an escrow officer with over 2 decades of experience. Her mind is blown that she's not marketed to more. It is a myth that these escrow officers and these title officers get bombarded with notary signing agents. I hope this video gives you confidence to go market your signing agent service to escrow and title officers in your county. Understand that an educated signing agent is a busy signing agent. And if you want the level of education that escrow officers like Kathy look for in a notary signing agent, simply click the link on this video. I'd love to have you as a loan signing system student. Remember, an educated signing agent is a busy signing agent. I'm Mark. I teach the loan signing system, and I hope this video brought value to your notary signing agent business.